Expedition 33 is the greatest game ever made. Or so the French want us to think. I won't do it! I won't praise the French! No! Stop! You can't make that! Expedition 33 is a game that seems to perplex a lot of people on the internet, as half the gaming community regards this to be the best thing since, the script says, name something French, so, adultery? And the other half of the gaming community believes this game is a psyop because they have yet to be shown any gameplay anywhere on the internet. So, in today's video, not only will we be taking a deeper look into how the French managed to pull this off, but we are also going to go into this video with a critical lens as to come to a logical conclusion on if this game really is as good as everyone says it is, and if it happens to be just that good, what could have made it even better. So, grab some stuffed snails and get ready for a lot of jokes making fun of the French accent, because this is a critical view of Expedition 33. Play the intro. Nope, I'm sorry, we do not have the time nor the budget to be doing all of this animated stuff. We barely had enough money to give me a new arm after that dinosaur ripped it off in the last video. I mean, look at this thing! Did they tape it on with fucking Ozempic? So here's a question for all those who have actually played and finished the game. How in God's name are you even supposed to critique a game with a story that has this kind of structure? Simple, you don't. Which is exactly why you won't find that many videos out there trying to tackle this game. But I'm a crazy person, so I'm gonna try and figure it out. This video is for both those who have not played the game and for those who have played the game. And for those that did go through all of this, understand that I know a few of my critiques will become invalidated once we get to that part of the story. If you hear something that feels a little bit strange, just remember that there is a shoe that the fools that have not played this game don't know is going to drop. And honestly, let them have fun while it lasts, because it won't be long until they're just as miserable as the rest of us. We're going to talk about the opening 10 hours of the game, rapidly dabble with exploration and gameplay, and then we'll continue on with the story, and then we'll talk about the real story, and then we'll talk about the endings. I'll also allow some cutscenes to breathe, as they allow for some vital context as the video goes on. Also, spoiler warning, we will be giving this game all the credit and criticism it deserves in a linear form. As the story unfolds, we will be talking about it. Expedition 33 opens on a world beyond the brink of collapse, and as a first introduction to this world, you would think the characters would have a lot to say about debris floating in the sky, and buildings resembling eclairs that have been recently shagged. But what you'll notice quickly is that Expedition 33 is not in a position to help you understand why the world looks like this, because it doesn't matter. The game intends to make you feel why the world is like this, which might be the hippiest of all hipster sentences I've ever written in my entire life, but Expedition 33's opening hour is a masterclass in not only getting you eye level with characters, but also puts you in the same emotional headspace as to handwave a lot of this game's world. The only thing that you know is that the world is like this because of something called the fracture, and the player doesn't really need to know more than that for now. Some things don't make sense, and characters have been feeling that kind of outrageous confusion for so long that they hardly acknowledge it. Not because they don't want to make sense of it, but because they don't have the time to. The game opens with Gustave and Maëlle as Gustave prepares to reunite with an ex-lover in the hopes of giving her a flower.
If you're gonna give someone flowers, you should probably do it before they wither and die.
What, the flower? Or Sophie?
Ooh, dark. Sophie would approve.
And I'm not going to tiptoe around this, okay? It becomes very apparent very quickly that something bad is coming, and the game has no intentions on telling you what it is. Sophie is a character written from the ground up to set the stakes of the game. A guy offering an ex-lover a flower sounds romantic. It makes sense. What doesn't make sense is that everyone else has been giving her flowers as well.
That's for your, if there's room.
There's always room.
You know how I feel? I wish things had been, I often think another path, another future.
I never faulted you for wanting to believe. You're fighting. change things. In a different world, right?
You walk past stalls overflowing with flowers as your character has internal dialogue about how it makes sense that there are more flowers left over compared to last year. Sophie speaks to a woman who calls her selfish for not having a child. You find a large stockpile of furniture that the player character remarks as so others may use them. You also start hearing a word left to linger: gommage. Whatever the gommage is, it's about to happen. You notice quickly that just like Sophie, there are others who have necklaces made of flowers. There is a group. It's not just Sophie. You can feel something coming, but no one seems to be sad or scared, so you don't think about it that hard. After all, the game is called Expedition 33. Maybe the gommage is a goodbye for those going on an adventure. You also notice pretty quickly that everyone seems pretty young, and there are just tons of children everywhere. But it doesn't really seem like anything worth overthinking. Maybe the devs just didn't want to model that many character models irrelevant to the story. You walk closer to the harbor as the game tells you that the gommage is about to begin. As the player, you've spent the last 30 minutes being introduced to the cast of characters. They all have names, they talk about their relatives, and just as fast as you meet them, they all die. There is a countdown painted by a being called the Paintress, who every year lowers the maximum lifespan of the population. The gommage is the yearly toll on society.
I'm here.
Why are there more flowers compared to last year? Because the people's ability to hold up a growing population dwindles every year. Why was the lady shaming Sophie for not having a child? Because they are desperate to maintain a population of people to keep society going. Why was there a pile of furniture? Because the people don't need it anymore. They're about to die. Watching a society that is conditioned on an impending death since the day they were born is just... oh man. Watching the people feel so calm in death is unnerving. Watching a literal child not cry when its parent vanishes to the gommage made me... I broke down, dude. This is just so fucking sad, man. This wasn't you learning to love characters who you'll play alongside in the game. It was the game conditioning you to understand the responsibility Gustav carries as an actual expeditioner. You are part of Expedition 33, and your goal is to stop the Paintress so that humanity may live, and my god is that setup amazing. I apologize if it seems like I'm glazing the game, and I kind of am, but a lot of what I'm talking about here is setup. You'll find very little wrong with the game in its opening hours, but there is a turning point where the game kind of gets a tad fucky, and I don't want this video to be over 2 hours, so let's speedrun some of the setup and get where we want to be so that the real video may begin. I want to start talking about characters, but we need to do something first. Fucking hell, I was not kidding when I said talking about this game is near impossible. After the gommage, you are introduced to the rest of Expedition 33, who plan to leave in the morning and venture forth to the main continent where the Paintress is waiting for you. The game falsely introduces you to characters that you think are important, kills them all to make a point, and then introduces you to the real characters that you will spend the rest of the game with.
There you are. You can't hide from us, you know. Like I said, mourning's best done with friends.
Lucien.
What? It is. Grieving alone's the worst.
Gustav! Come drink with me.
I'm pacing myself tonight.
You're so boring.
But, not really. Everyone you just met again here dies as well. Now, normally I am one to complain about a story reusing story beats, especially when it's done worse. But again, I feel like the death of most of Expedition 33 continues on with Gustav's development as a character. You see, the gommage has desensitized the population when it comes to death. Obviously, they are sad when someone dies, but they are prepared for it. Gustav heads to the main continent, confident of his mission. If death can't knock him down, what can. And that's where the game slams you face first with the concept of death and being killed being different things. Gustav can handle death when it's graceful, and the slaughter of his team brings him closer to being more human than ever before. His survival instincts are shot. Now he is facing real death, and he nearly kills himself in order to escape the grief of it. The game is playing with themes of death, differentiating all the different types of pain that death can bring so that you may have a more nuanced feeling about what it means to die. It's almost like the game has something to say about the concept of death and what it means to grieve. Curious. But it's not all just about themes. There is a deeper story here. You don't just get killed by a random monster. You are killed by an old man. Something that literally nobody alive has seen before.
You're old. How did you survive the Gommage? Which expedition are you from?
Fall back!
How is this guy old? Why would he kill expeditioners? The game is planting seeds in a very, very captivating mystery. Would you believe me if I told you that one of the biggest problems with this game is that they take the element of mystery too far? I guess you could say that we'll get to the mystery real soon! If you're not a subscriber, that probably felt a little weird, but don't worry, you'll catch on. It is here, and over the next 3 hours, that we finally establish our definitive team, our Expedition 33. There is Gustav, Mael, Lune, and Ciel. And if any of you go into the comment section and tell me I pronounced any names wrong in this video, I'm removing your balls. And if you're a girl, Gustav is the rock that holds the group to order and acts as the commander after the original commander is killed by the man with the grey hair. Lune is the to-the-book rule follower who devotes herself to logic and rational thought process. Ciel is more loose and with the flow of things, and has a natural ability to help cool the team down when things get stressful. She is the optimist.
Hi, Editing Zenny here. I just want to remark that if you play this game, you'll understand, it is really unfortunate that I used the word loose to describe Ciel, especially with how this game's going to unfold. I apologize. That wasn't the intention when I wrote the script, but I'm going to be real. In editing, that's fucking funny. That is, I don't know. I feel I'm alone in a room and I'm laughing at one of my own jokes that I didn't mean to make, but...
And lastly, there is Mael, who is the youngest of the group and is the emotional dynamic for the party, and if not the party, definitely Gustav. The game doesn't delve too hard into Lune and Ciel's emotional beats in the first portion of the game, and it makes sense once you know where the game is headed. What matters right now is Gustav and Mael. Mael is Gustav's daughter slash sister, as most teenagers don't have the privilege of surviving parents, and get taken in by the oldest of society, which just happens to be people in their 30s. After the old man attacks you on the beach, Gustav slowly finds the remaining expeditioners. Lune finds Gustav by the bodies of their teammates, Ciel being found in a gladiatorial arena of the Gestrels, but it's here where you find Mael that starts setting the stage for an even bigger story. Because keep in mind, nobody even knows who the paintress is, how her powers work, or why she's doing anything that she does. And the game does an amazing job setting the stage for a mystery that will go on to skullfuck you nearing the last third of the game's runtime. You find a mysterious door, and once the party enters, they find Mael.
Mael?
Are you real? Well, you sure smell real enough.
No, I don't. I'm sorry. I thought that you... On the beach, I saw you and I couldn't, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I should have, I should have come for you and
It's okay. It's okay.
I was worried.
Made it.
How did you end up here?
I don't know. It's all a blur.
But they also find a being called the Curator, who saved Mael and seems to be able to upgrade your gear at camp.
Then I woke up here. With him. He's been helping me a lot. He reinforced all my pictos.
What is he?
I'm not sure. He doesn't really talk.
And speaking of camp, after every day in-game or after every big main story quest, the party will rest at camp. And it's here at the camp where character development thrives. Characters ponder on their experiences throughout the day, and you'll notice quickly that Gustav really isn't the main character in this story. In fact, you don't even have to play as him. You can roam the world as anyone in the party, and you don't even have to have him in the 3-character lineup for fights if you don't want to. And interactions between characters will swap you to whatever character is intended per interaction. The game establishes that whilst the title card might have said Gustav, you are not playing as Gustav, you are playing as Expedition 33, which I think is just really cool, and it's the highlight factor of the game for me. There is no main character. You are a group, and everyone's voice is just as valuable. Again, I apologize if it doesn't seem like there's much criticism here. We're still setting things up, but don't worry, it's only going to be a little bit longer. Every time you are at camp though, Mael starts to have nightmares about the man with the grey hair. He talks about how you shouldn't be here. You are haunted by a one-eyed girl with a burnt face hidden under a mask.
White hair. Who are you?
Alicia, I told you to stay home. It's not good for you to see this. Yes, I understand. It's her fault, and she doesn't even know it. But you can't be here.
What are you talking about? What's my fault? What is this?
You should never have come. You're only going to make things worse for everyone. Now take your friends and go home. Let them spend their final year in peace. This is your only warning.
I can't wait to see...
Mael?
Hey.
Hey. Hey.
It was him. I saw him. The white-haired man and this woman.
You also have visions of a different man covered in blood. Mael dreams of fire, you hear voices the game has not established yet, and it's exciting. You will spend a lot of time in this game confused, but with this being the opening 10 hours, it's all very exciting. You are all new to this continent, the creatures you fight are made by the paintress. It doesn't seem like all the creatures are hostile though, and now a character is starting to have visions. It's fun, but also very overwhelming. But that's the thrill of a mystery. As long as the confusion isn't dragged on too far and the answers are slowly drip fed to you, you'll be in for a good time. Also, I'd just like to say, this game is very funny when it forgets that it's meant to be a depression simulator.
I will need Flory.
Who's Flory?
One of my rocks.
Rocks.
See? Flory helps me swim. But Flory was stolen by my arch nemesis. The one whose every step shakes the foundation of the world. The one known as Francois.
Let me guess, Francois is located deep in Nevron-infested territory, right?
Oh no. He's right next door. Over there.
Oh.
Who dares enter my lair? You can't just walk into someone's home without knocking. That is incredibly rude.
Are you Francois? He's just a talking rock.
Wait, I thought Flory was the rock.
A rock? I am not a rock. Do you have rocks for eyes? You certainly have rocks for brains. I am clearly a turtle. Esquier! Stop sending hooligans over here!
Stop being a meanie. They're nice humans.
Then keep them on your side of the caves! Now get off my lawn!
It's okay. We'll leave. We're just here for Flory.
So, not only are you intruding, you're here to steal? Oh my word! Humans! Well, over my dead body! Rah!
You're sent on a mission to grab a special rock for this fella, Esquier, who once he has his special rock can be a means of travel to the new parts of the map. Sweet, so you go on an adventure, you fight a really cool boss, you get Esquier his rock that gives him the ability to swim, and in return, he can carry you across the sea ever closer to the paintress. And it's here where the game decides that...
Run. Why are you doing this?
You won't yet understand. This is a kindness, not a cruelty.
You let her come. You know she's too weak for this. How could you let her take such a risk?
You only care when things are right in front of you. My sweet child, you were supposed to stay home. I told you not to worry. But since you're here now, just stay put.
What are you saying? You must go home, now. This does not involve you.
When this is over, we'll go home together.
No!
This won't make sense. to you now. But we both want what's best for our families. I'm sorry you're caught in the middle, but I did try to warn you. It's been a while. Stay out of this. You chose to walk away. You don't get to come back now and interfere.
You've lived more than a lifetime. It's time to let her go.
A lifetime. A lifetime with my family torn apart. No. I want my family back.
It's not your family, but she is.
You would use her.
She chose to come. I didn't make the rules between you two. Hey. You all right? It's okay. I'll handle things here.
You set us down this path. But are you ready for the consequences?
She'll never paint again.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand the tone might be a little bit off here, but you've finally made it to the part of the video where I get to bitch! Oh, but before I can start criticizing things, I told you I would briefly talk about exploration and gameplay. So, yeah. You can roam around and grab little items on the ground which help you level up your gear. There's even some small activities you can do. Anyway, that's the end of exploration. Let's talk about the gameplay. Here's some gameplay. Now that you've seen it, you know it's real. Parrying feels really good. It's the most vital part of the combat, actually. I wasn't fucking kidding when I said we're gonna talk about this shit rapidly, because holy fucking shit, we don't have the fucking time nor the resources to talk about all of this, okay? Not when the video is this fucking long, okay? So anyway, back to Gustav, who, The death of Gustav is soul-crushing, and I feel like his death is a really nice conclusion to what I spoke upon earlier. Gustav's character, and everyone he cares about that dies, is a lesson on narrative death for the player. You experience Sophie's death, and while it's sad, her death along with everyone else who Gamaged is glorified death. It's graceful, and it drives Gustav. The second wave of deaths recontextualizes death for a person who thought he knew what it meant to have someone die on him, and it almost breaks him. And whilst Gustav's death doesn't continue on the lesson for Gustav, it does carry on for the player. Now you've experienced the death of one of your people. Like I said before, you don't play as Gustav, you play as Expedition 33. The acts tell you what character you'll be learning lessons from, and Gustav's lessons have come to an end, concluding with his death. It is after this point that, narratively, the player is ready for the absolute brilliance of the story. There is the Gamage, which portrays death as graceful. There is the beach slaughter, which portrays death as violent and painful, and then there is Gustav's death, which is driven and purposeful. Remember this for later. Graceful death, painful death, purposeful death. The man with the grey hair kills Gustav, but before he can move on and kill Mael, we are introduced to Verso. Oh my god. Okay, so here's where the video can finally begin. And here's a wrench to throw into your gears, my fellow expeditioners. I don't like Verso. Or at least, I don't like how he is introduced to the party. Narratively, Verso is an impeccable character, as his presence in the game becomes very important later in the game's story, but keep in mind, at this point in the game, you have no idea who this guy is, so the player can only take Verso at face value. And trust me when I tell you that Verso's character introduction to the party is bad, and it's here where the game starts to show some cracks. Gustav just died, and 10 minutes later, Verso joins the group.
Ciel!
This seemed important. If you want to reach the monolith, the best path is through the quarry up north.
Who are you?
And where did you get that expedition uniform?
Strange way to say thank you.
This is the third sentence he has spoken to them, and he is already acting like an arrogant snob. This is a really bad look for what is, again, a really good character. I'll let this few minutes play out as it does a decent job at validating Verso joining the group.
I'm sorry I couldn't save your friend. I'm wearing an expedition uniform because I, too, am an expeditioner.
What? What do you mean you're an... I've never seen you before.
First expedition. Expedition Zero.
Expedition Zero? But how are you alive and not...
Old? I don't know exactly, but some of us stopped aging and were not affected by the gamage.
Some of you? Like the man on the cliff?
Anwar, our commander.
Why? Why did he massacre our team?
How could he turn on his own people?
He believes his immortality is a gift from the paintress. Killing her would kill him too, and he enjoys living forever.
And you don't?
Burying everyone you know while you live on can weigh you down a bit. I couldn't help your friend, but perhaps I can help you.
You want to join us?
If you don't mind the company, yes.
So, if I want to kill Renoir, I have to kill the paintress first. What's your name?
Verso.
Oh cool, that all made a lot of sense. But also, motherfucker, you are lying? Okay, so I have 3 big problems with Verso becoming an addition to the game, okay? Number 1. Character interactions. As I spoke about before, the camp is where character development shines, and my god, are the first interaction with Verso and the party weird. First there is Lune, who rightfully has a lot of questions as this man hasn't aged, has joined tons of other expeditions where they have failed, and wants to know what his motives are. And the fact that Verso treats the concept of someone questioning him as an excuse to be quirky is fucking maddening.
Why are you allying yourself with us?
Not a lot of options out here, in case you hadn't noticed.
This seems like a throwaway line, but he literally just told her, meh, nothing else going on, so why not? Brother, what the fuck are you doing?
What about the previous expeditioners? Did you help them too?
That's a terrible way to ask questions. Do you always interrogate people like this?
Given the circumstances, I think we can skip the pleasantries, no?
Alliances are usually give and take. That's our conversations.
Why is he so against answering what are very normal questions? Verso then proceeds to turn the concept of questions into a little game. And then the actual game just tells you that questions were asked, that many were reluctantly answered, and you don't even know what the fuck they even talked about. The game is speed running character bonding because understandably, it is really weird how quickly they just let Verso into the party. And this strange speed running of character growth continues with Ciel. This is Verso's first conversation alone with Ciel, and he is already calling her a teammate. Ciel rightfully pushes back a tad by reminding Verso that he is a mysterious stranger to them all, which I liked as he is getting way too comfortable way too fast, but this conversation ends on a flirty note. And we know it's flirty because the next few times that Ciel and Verso get to talking alone, it's eventually going to lead up to Ciel wanting to shag him. Gustave just died, and Verso joins the team. He is being abrasive with Lune, flirty with Ciel, and practically dubs himself the new team leader. Gustave's body isn't even cold yet, and Verso is replacing him, and dubs himself the new team leader, because understandably, with him having lived on the continent longer than anyone else they know, he knows more. And that is the other problem with Verso's interaction. Number 2, the lingering plot. The first time you get a proper glimpse of Verso, it's in one of Mael's nightmares, where we see him covered in blood, standing over dead expeditioners and preparing to kill another. Then we meet Verso, and he acts all buddy and friendly, and then is reluctantly answering questions. This is a really bad look, especially from the player's perspective, but what's worse is Mael doesn't even talk to Verso about what she saw, which understandably makes sense. You've seen this guy killing your people in a dream before you even knew he existed. But But she doesn't even tell Lune about it when they have a scripted interaction after Verso surprises the party. Mael doesn't even really get a one-on-one interaction with Verso in the camp after he joins. They get one in the morning where she kind of tells him to bugger off, but that's more just her not wanting to talk about Gustav. Everyone else gets an interaction where they can ask questions and get comfy, aside from the one character who has the questions that would catch Verso in whatever secrets he is keeping. The writers make sure that Mael is in no position to ask questions, because if they did, it would either ruin the plot or make Mael look like an idiot when she doesn't address the glaring red flags right in front of her. And that is a big problem when it comes to the lingering plot in this game. It is no secret that the game is building up to something. Mael is having nightmares, visions, and the villains are straight up speaking to her telepathically while she sleeps. This game spent the first 10 hours building up a mystery, and when someone from the mystery shows up, the game does nothing to make you think that part of the mystery is solved. Let me try explain this because I don't think I'm making sense here. This game feels like a fever dream where you are always in the dark, and understandably this works really well when your party is made up of people that don't know shit about this world. Once Gustav dies and Verso, a man of knowledge, joins the party, you'd assume that now things will start to make sense, or at least more sense than they are currently. And Verso does explain away some stuff, but there is just so much that's still not making sense that you start to suspect he is up to something, or at the very least that he is lying to you. And this can be fine when written correctly, but it's not portrayed like the party is nervous about Verso and that they are keeping him around waiting until the shoe drops. They are just super fine with just making him de facto leader. He will just say out of nowhere that he knows how to beat the paintress, and they don't even have the foresight to think that that's a little bit weird that he knows that much. And later, when they do end up catching him in a very, very big lie, the consequences are so minimum that the party just moves on from it and starts to trust him again. And this is where my main problem with Verso joining the party lies. Number 3, Verso is the main character. Before Verso, you could play as anyone, and the camp interactions would swap you out with characters intended for certain interactions. Yes, the game opens with Gustav, but then opens up more and more as more people join the party. Once Gustav dies and Verso joins the team, in combat, you play as Expedition 33. But in camp, where all the character development happens, you play as Verso and nobody else. From now on, interactions with characters have a relationship ranking, where you can't even mess it up. The game gives you optional dialogue choices, but Verso can say anything and they'll either agree with him or fucking flirt with him. Gustav dies, gets replaced with Verso, and he becomes the fucking hottest thing since, I don't know, sliced baguette. And again, I'm not trying to be a hater here. Verso is a very interesting character, and his introduction to the game seems like a pretty small problem, but it is a very hard pill to swallow. You are no longer playing as the group, you are playing as Verso, and all character development revolves around dialogue with Verso. Characters become dumber and more complacent with being left in the dark, which does help the writers when they are building up a mystery, but it doesn't feel good when the player knows a character is full of shit and the characters they play as could have spotted this before but have been dumbed down to keep the mystery going. I mean, come on, man. Mael buries Gustav's arm in a burial site that Verso recommended where he has buried other expeditioners. As the player, you saw Verso killing expeditioners. Mael was the one having the dream and it never comes up. If it was something that Mael was too scared to ask Verso about, that would have been pretty cool. A single nagging memory holding her back from Verso. But no, she is giggling with him after the burial and everything is fine. What I think has happened here is the developers are trying to show glimpses of a wider story in a way that they hope makes no sense, so that later, once there are more pieces to put together, it makes for a grand reveal. But the glimpses they are showing have way too many implications for the current story unfolding right in front of us. They assumed they were being coy, but it's not coy enough, and it can result in a lot of confusion. And whilst I do love where the story is headed, you can't have 80% of your runtime be confusion and mistrust, especially when that is not the intention. You are not jingling the keys hard enough for me to not question why details in an impending story doesn't matter to the current story unfolding right in front of me. But, credit where it is due, things actually do get better. Until it gets worse again. Once you bury Gustav, you set off to recruit Minoko, who is just, oh dude, he's fucking great, man. Look at this.
No distractions, son. I'm really busy beating up strangers. Verso, why aren't you using gradient attacks?
I don't need pointers from the one sitting on his lazy ass.
You didn't teach them, did you, you lazy old fart? Now that we've had some good battles to warm the spirits, to what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
We're heading for Old Lumiere.
Okay, bye. Out of the question. I will never join you again.
There will be a lot of fighting, though.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's true.
There will be a lot of fighting.
Exactly.
Count me in then. As a responsible parent, this is a superb idea.
Minoko! Why the hell did you—
Sorry, I fucked up. I just wanted to show off.
In order to recruit Minoko, who is Verso's best friend, Verso starts spilling details about his secret plan, which is fantastic. It validates the player's suspicions that something is up with Verso without it just being other characters not addressing things. This detail is strictly for the player to enjoy.
Now that we've had some good battles to warm the spirits, to what do we owe the pleasure of your company?
We're heading for Old Lumiere.
Okay, bye.
Hey, come on. Hey. Hey, look. I know we failed before, but look, you doofus. Don't you recognize her?
Of course I do.
Then you know what that means. This is our shot. It might be our only shot.
This is your only shot.
There is something about Mael that Verso thinks can beat the Paintress. Mael is something more than just Mael. This is really cool and validates the player's confusion. You think you're slowly going to get answers, and this is a better way of portraying a mystery. Leave the characters in the dark and allow the player to chase the high. And somehow, despite the game starting to do the dynamic of a mystery right, it fumbles it. Again! Once you have recruited Minoko, Verso tells the party that in order to beat the Paintress, you must destroy the Paintress's heart first, which can be located in Old Lumiere. Once you get there, Minoko is a dickhead and manages to split the group accidentally, and things get ominous really fast. And again, the game starts stirring up that mystery.
58. They were the ones that Verso was traveling with.
I believe so. They made it surprisingly far. An axon. Interesting. Verso is... Is this true? Mael's with him. We need to go. Now!
I knew you'd open the door for her.
Really, Verso? This was your plan? Must you hurt our family?
No, you don't get to lecture me on family.
Why do you refuse to see I am doing this for us? Yet you insist on rushing toward death. You're trying to stop the wrong cycle.
You're doing this for yourself.
of course. It's easier for you to think that, isn't it? Easier to betray us if I'm the villain.
So move. I'm gonna fucking kill him.
You haven't told her the truth. Have you, son?
Sorry we're late. We were busy doing a bit of reading. Were you planning on sharing that this man, the man who murdered our team, is your father?
Family is not my favorite topic. Right, can we talk about this later? I'd really like for you all to survive this.
Why can't you accept who you are?
What is that? Will you tell me your name?
Where did it go? Alicia.
Fuck! Okay, so this is great setup, right? Renoir is Verso's father. Maëlle looks very similar to the masked girl who has access to the Paintress's heart, which is why he planned to use her as bait for the door to open. All of this is great. It's fantastic. There's a few little pieces you can put together. And then the game does something really, really fucking stupid. Verso calls Maëlle Alicia. This is huge. Why the fuck did he do that? I can't wait for them to get back to Cam and ask him why. It never comes up. It never comes up. Fuck you. They don't even fucking talk about it. They are rightfully pissed that Verso didn't tell them that Renoir was his father and that Maëlle was bait.
Your father?
I don't think of him as my father anymore.
Still, why didn't you just tell us?
Because it's private. And it's painful and it's none of your business.
Fuck! But they never address the fucking elephant in the room, which is Maëlle looks like Alicia, who is the masked girl, and you called Maëlle Alicia. Fuck! If this was a mistake by Verso, the character should bring it up and he should tell them that, I don't know, in the heat of battle he just mixed up the names. But the party doesn't even bring it up. They were all there when it happened. And what's even worse is Maëlle will have a one-on-one with Verso. She brings up Alicia, he confesses to her that Alicia is his sister, and then Maëlle never asks him why he called her Alicia.
So, the masked person with Renoir, that's your sister? Not a hard leap to make.
Her name's Alicia.
What's wrong with her? She wears a mask all the time, she never talks, and she's always staring.
She was trapped in a fire a long time ago. Damaged her face and her throat, so, yeah.
Why? Did they come to see me?
fuck! This game is so unbelievably shit at keeping its own secret that it leaves the player wondering if they're a fucking crazy person. There are very visible dots here. They have just caught Verso in a very big lie, and when it comes to put the dots together, they leave out half the dots. It's infuriating watching characters not acknowledge information that both the player and the characters have. Literally, just don't have Verso call out Alicia's name when he saves Mael, and none of this is a problem. But as a writer, you cannot just pull out a sicko mode moment like this.
Why can't you accept who you are?
And then not have it be a big deal. And again, I will say, when all of this gets explained, it's the coolest thing in the world. The game is a solid 9.8 out of 10, and I'm of the opinion that it did in fact deserve Game of the Year. But this shit is fucking ridiculous. Do you want to have a mystery, or do you want to start explaining things? You cannot have it both ways. The game is no longer just drip feeding you clues. It's just spelling shit out for you. But the characters are so fucking stupid that they can't read. Now, being French is a good excuse for a lot of things, but this isn't one of them. We are now back in the awkward situation where you as the player have all but been affirmed in your feeling that you know Verso is a bullshit artist, but then he gives you all a new way of getting to the Paintress. I guess we're just back to trusting Verso again. The Paintress is trapped in a place called the Monolith. The manor was a shortcut through the Monolith and would have led right to the Paintress, but the manor has vanished. So now the party must gather enough chroma, think of it as a magical energy / paint that creates anything. They must gather enough chroma by killing the Axon, beings that are towering creatures overflowing with chroma, so that the curator can build them a weapon that can pierce the monolith and allow them to go fight the Paintress. Fighting the Axons is great. I mean, dude, look at this. I don't think it needs to be said. This game is fucking beautiful. The Axons are great, but they're not crazy important to the story right now, so let's carry on. You beat the Axons, and as the curator is handed the chroma by Mael, she gets a flash of Renoir.
I saw.
What happened?
I saw. It was. Renoir.
I used to see him in my nightmares too. It can be quite traumatizing.
I'm just sure that's nothing, right? They now have the weapon that can break the monolith. They pierce it and make their way to the Paintress. I'm sorry if it seems like I'm speed running a lot of this story, and because I am, but we have a lot of things to discuss, and the only way we're going to be able to do that is if we get the story behind us. As you make your way to the top of the monolith where the Paintress is waiting for you, you bump into Renoir again, and you're hit with all of this.
Taking her down.
She's not the only one who grieves. The pain of losing you, she made me inherit it. Punishment, perhaps, for not being there when it mattered.
You are at what you assume is the end point of the game, and these characters are just saying shit. It's so fucking confusing, man. She made me inherit the memory of losing you? Brother, he's right there! What the fuck are you talking about?
I refuse to lose my son.
That son was a stranger.
But you're not. You're not.
You lost me years ago, and I lost you.
So you leave us no choice. Tell me, how are you different from her in doing this?
I'm tired.
So trust me. We are your family.
Family is complicated.
If saving you means losing you, then so be it.
We only need to incapacitate him.
We'll find a way to kill him.
You beat Renoir, and my god, this boss fight is just amazing. I know I didn't speak about combat all that much, okay? There's tons of videos that go out there and talk about it. It's fucking sensational, okay? I would just like to say that having already played this game, going back and reliving these cutscenes is just such a wonderful experience. If you're all still very confused on what's happening or why the story still isn't making all that much sense, don't worry, we'll be getting to the explanation real soon.
Sors et fuis, je t'en prie, fuis ce tableau maudit, cette
That's her, the paintress.
She looks like the curator.
Renoir? He mentioned the curator's wife. She's the paintress.
You've come back.
Alors tranchons la trame, découle la
But
sinistre.
the fire. Are you really here? Or is he?
Je t'en prie, fuis ce tableau maudit, cette toile d'une fausse.
Oh, is he playing tricks again? Alicia,
Alicia?
your face.
My face? What about my face? Are you going to burn it again?
Alicia's your daughter.
And I'll remind you of her. The daughter you lost.
Come along. Let's go home.
Yes. You need to go home.
You are not my Verso.
No. Verso's dead.
No. You are his creations, not mine. You will not take this canvas from me.
There is talk of his trickery, of fire, Alicia's pain, and Verso being dead? It's all a lot, and it's all going to come to a close right now. You fight the Paintress, and you beat her. You win. The number painted on the monolith fades away along with the Paintress. You win! What a happy ending! Oh man! Anyway, so here's the last cutscene after you've saved the world from the Paintress. Before you went to attack the monolith, Alicia visited Verso and gave him a letter to read on completion of his mission. I wonder what it said.
Brother, I tire of the conflicts and deceptions that plague our family and theirs. So, I entrust you with this letter. Whether you give it to her is up to you. I'm at peace with what's to come. When the time comes, I hope you will be too. Maya, it's a strange feeling watching you with my brother, laughing and smiling, without the scars or the memories that afflict me. Alicia, as she was meant to be, not this painted version that I am. My family, a facsimile of yours, and this world, a mirror, painted by your mother, the Paintress, to stave off her grief. Seeing your expedition through would plunge us all into the abyss. For in ridding the world of the Paintress, you'd lose the sole force standing against the one who would erase us, the one who invokes the flowers of the Gommage. An act of love, for he does love her. Your father. On her monolith, she paints a warning for us all, of the few she can save as her power wanes. We all wish for our families to thrive. Your family, however, believes only one can survive. But perhaps you'll find another way. You who have lived amongst us, perhaps you differ from your father and your sister, as I differ from mine. Your mother paints life, whilst your father, death. What will you paint?
Where do I even start? Let's start at the beginning. Not of this story, but the story that came before this. It's time for everything to finally make sense, and then I get to bitch about stuff. Hooray! Get ready, because this first sentence is a doozy. In the real world, the DeSandra family got caught in a fire that killed their son, Verso, and burnt their daughter, Alicia. The DeSandra family has the gift of painting, where they can build, form, and craft canvases which act as worlds that can be explored after they have painted them. The paintings create life. Before Verso's death, he had spent his childhood and presumably young adult life painting his own canvas. He painted silly characters like Eskie after his favorite toy, Minoko, and the Gestrels. After his death though, his mother Aline couldn't cope with the loss of her son, so she would spend time in Verso's canvas. Canvases are said to house a part of a painter's soul. Aline, however, lost herself in the painting. She refused to leave Verso's painting as the grief of not having him with them was just too much. She helps herself cope by creating and painting her family inside of the canvas. Renoir, Alicia, and Verso. This painted Verso is the Verso that we know throughout the game. The Renoir we encounter throughout the game is the painted Renoir, and the masked Alicia is also the painted Alicia. The real Renoir tries to force Aline to leave the canvas, and they clash, causing the fracture, which is why the world looks so decayed. Fighting Aline doesn't work, so the real Renoir results to a battle of attrition. Aline painted the people that we see throughout the game inside the canvas. Gustave, Lune, Ciel, Sophie, they are all Aline's attempt to make a normal world so that she can live with her version of Verso. The real Renoir plots to destroy everything so that Aline will leave. Instead, Aline uses her power to hold back the Gamage, which would kill all of her creations. The countdown is a warning to the people that she is losing her power to keep everyone alive. The paintress is not killing the people. Renoir is. But hold on, what's all this stuff about Maëlle looking like Alicia? Well, Maëlle doesn't look like Alicia. She is Alicia. Alicia attempted to enter the painting in the hopes of helping her father get her mother out of the painting. But when she entered the painting, Aline's chroma overpowered her and painted over her, forcing her into a form of reincarnation and rebirth. This child being born is Alicia. She just doesn't remember. That's why she's having memory flashes throughout the game. Once she is gamaged though, after they beat the paintress and Renoir is successful in wiping everyone out, it is then that she is brought back with her real memories and remembers her goal to help Renoir free her mother. But hold on, where is the real Renoir during all of this? Well, surprise, surprise, the real Renoir was the curator, powering up the expeditioner's gear in order to help them take out the paintress. It wasn't a matter of wanting to kill the people, it was the only way to get her weak enough to be slain so that she would be pushed out of the canvas. Verso wanted to join you guys to stop his mother from grieving poorly and make her leave. The Gamage was just a consequence of the conflict. But the people can be repainted again now that Eileen is out of the painting, so all's well that ends well.
Some of Eileen's finest work. I regret that it caused you so much pain. What Eileen did was unfair to you most of all. Please, accept the Desandre family's apologies. I know it seems absurd to offer oblivion as recompense, but perhaps that's the outcome we both desire.
What?
I'm proud of you. Getting your mother out of the canvas was not easy. Once we erase the canvas, we won't have to worry anymore.
She's home now. Why?
You know your mother. Verso painted this canvas. It contains a piece of his soul. She'll never willingly part with it.
No.
For the sake of the living, we must part with the dead.
No, Papa. See, I hid the canvas.
She will always find it. This is our only opportunity, while she's too sick from her prolonged descent into the canvas to return.
No. Papa, please. This is Verso's only canvas. You can't destroy the last piece of him that we have. This is my home now. You can't just decide.
Your home? After all that with your mother, you want to stay?
You know how little remains of my life outside.
Alicia, you'll die. You've already been here longer than you should.
But...
No. Look at me, I said no. I am not letting my daughter risk her life. Alicia.
No, Mum. I'm not going to lose myself if I stay.
I know full well you will, and I am not doing this again!
No! What are you...
It's time to go home.
Verso, come on. Come on.
Well, shit. Looks like the game's not over. Before we can carry on and talk about the two optional endings, there are a few continuity problems that the game has that don't really affect your enjoyment of the game, but I'd still like to talk about them. When everything is revealed to you, Clea, Renoir and Aline's oldest daughter, she explains that their mother and father are in a stalemate, with Aline being trapped at the top of the monolith and Renoir being trapped underneath.
Our parents are quite the stubborn pair. They're still fighting each other inside the canvas. He has her imprisoned at the top of the monolith, and she has him trapped beneath. It's a stalemate.
That's why both start projecting their powers out of the monolith to kill and save the people of Lumiere. It's a war of attrition where both are trapped in the monolith. However, we clearly see the paintress outside of the monolith in the manor. The manor is meant to be used as a shortcut to the monolith. So in the same way, if the paintress wanted, she could just escape the monolith through the manor. I mean, she's right there. She is clearly not in the monolith. And it is said that Renoir is trapped underneath the monolith. But we see him in his own manor doing the same thing, using his own manor as a shortcut around the world. And it's 100% confirmed that the paintress could escape through her manor because Renoir is in our camp, not trapped under the monolith, and is not stuck in his manor. This might have been a mistake to have Clea make this remark about where they are trapped, but that one sentence offers up some weird implications on why we keep seeing the paintress and the curator where they shouldn't be. You can argue that these could be projections, but then you're getting into the actually territory, and it's a minor slip up, and it's not that big of a deal. Another thing that bothers me is when you're making your way to the paintress, the game recycles practically all the enemies you've already fought before as to pad out your path to the paintress. Now I get what they're trying to do here. It's meant to be a look back at how far you've come type situation. Do you remember all the parry patterns over your journey? It's a nice homage to your adventure, or at least it would be if this was actually the end of the game, but it isn't. The game knows this isn't the end, and it's just padding itself out. It's not bad, but at this point you're really excited to go fight the paintress, and the game's bogging itself down with filler content, which I feel like is just a tad silly. However, once you beat the paintress, the curator is revealed to be Renoir, and he won't upgrade your weapons anymore after this point. These enemies leading up to the paintress are absolutely roided out with experience points for weapons, and if you fight everything leading up to the paintress, practically all your gear is going to be max level, which is smart if you're worried players are underleveled, but also a shame, as it devalues the time that you have sunk into the game getting your gear leveled up, because this was going to happen anyway. It's a shame, but it's a small nitpick. Shit, I'm realizing this script doesn't have that many jokes at the expense of the French. Give me a second, let me think of something. Okay, so you know the FAMAS rifle? Okay, you know how everyone's like, oh, it's a gun that fires in 3 burst rounds and the magazine isn't divisible by 3, and that's the main joke? I've got another one for you, okay? I actually have a theory as to why the FAMAS gun is actually backloaded. I have a theory that it's not actually backloaded. It's just a means of perspective. You see, the French aren't fighting anyone, they're too busy retreating from the enemy. So from the enemy's perspective, the gun still looks normal, as now the mag is facing the back. So, in reality, the gun was made perfect for the French. You fucking cowards. Okay, is that good enough for you? Alright, let's carry on with the video. I'd recommend you go back and watch this video again once I'm done with all of this, but we're not there just yet. But you'll see what I mean when I say that the clues for the story are laid on way too thick and give away a lot of details that would have been more interesting if they had been a bit more subtle with it. That's not to say that the twist of this world is a lie, doesn't hit you square in the balls, but Mael being Alicia would have hit a lot harder if I didn't already put 2 and 2 together 15 hours ago. Okay, so let's move on and talk about the endings, because I feel like a lot of people have some really silly thoughts on the endings. And don't worry, you do not know where I'm going with this for all of you fellow expeditioners. Trust me, I think you'll like what I have to say. Mael, who we will now be calling Alicia from now on, flees with Verso, Esquier, and Minoko, and is able to bring back Ciel and Lune through her ability to paint and harvesting their chroma. You have managed to best the paintress, and now that Aline is out of the painting, Renoir wants to destroy the canvas and in turn the world. Alicia's hope was that once they bested Aline, they would repaint all those that were killed, but Renoir has other plans, and I don't fault Renoir for thinking the way he thinks. Aline was blinded by grief to the point she lost herself in the painting, and Alicia wishes to stay in the painting as she can't live a real life outside of the canvas due to her injuries. Renoir is fearful that Alicia will lose herself as well. The difference, however, is that Aline lost herself in grief, whilst Alicia just wants to be able to talk and live a normal life. Alicia can't envision a world where she will forget where her true family is. She doesn't plan to replace her old family with a new one, she just wants the canvas to remain so that she can feel some semblance of joy. And she also just doesn't want her Mael family that she's lived with alongside for 15 years to fade away. And we will discuss this with more nuance soon, okay? But let's get some setup for the endings. With Alicia being able to paint, they gather enough chroma from the bodies of fallen expeditioners that you've seen throughout the game and use them as a means of fighting their way to Renoir. The boss fight with Renoir goes so fucking hard. He conjures the axons you bested earlier in the game, and when you nearly beat him, he just uses an axon to heal him to full health. And then this happens.
I do love a challenge, but this is beginning to irk me.
Fuck. He keeps regenerating.
Maybe we focus on the axons first.
She can't.
Maman.
You're going to kill yourself. It's too soon for you to return to any canvas.
joining the battle as the Paintress was the most spine-chilling moment in this entire game. I loved it. Once you beat Renoir, Alicia convinces him to let her stay, and she promises that she won't remain in the painting forever.
Your mother was the one who saved me when I lost myself in a canvas. She taught me how to safely use our gift, how to soar without flying too close to the sun. We painted hundreds of canvas worlds, pushing the very boundaries of creation. And she never let me forget that every day we spent here has a price. Yet, here we are now.
So trust her. If she's doing this, then...
I trust what she taught me. This is not a game. You think you know what's at stake, but you don't.
I know precisely what's at stake. You want control. You want to feel like you're doing something. You couldn't save Verso, so you want to save us. Except you're not. Destroying the canvas won't help us move on. It'll just deny us the one place that helped us feel again.
67 years. 67 years I spent trapped within the monolith. But I persisted. Do you know why? Do you know why I cannot leave her or you behind? This is what I see every day. I cannot spend another day with living corpses. Since the fire, our family has crumbled. Aline in the canvas. Clea fighting a solitary war. You, a living ghost. Verso's death broke us. Wanted to be fixed. I need it to be fixed. I cannot lose you too.
You see, that's how I feel about them. I can't lose them either. I've lost too much. Papa, see, I've lost so much.
We both lost so much.
I don't want to lose you either. I'm not leaving you forever. Just a little longer.
I want to trust you, but...
You can't.
Keep the light on for you. I hope you find peace. Hold on to each other.
As Renoir leaves, Verso flees into a pocket realm where no creations can survive. But Verso is a painted creation, so why doesn't he fade here? Because this pocket is where a fragment of Verso's soul remains. Throughout the game, we've been bumping into a ghost of a young boy who speaks about missing, laughing with everyone. A boy suffering, saying he wishes she understood just what it means for me to paint. He ponders on if he should continue and then questions his own words. This young boy is the real Verso, a small fragment of his soul, the beating heart of the canvas. And the painted Verso wants him to stop painting so that they may both fade from existence, But in doing so, the canvas will die, along with everything and everyone in this beautiful world. Everyone but Alicia will die.
You're tired of painting, aren't you? I'm tired too.
You shouldn't be able to be here.
Mamon's gift.
Why did you run in? It's dangerous for you here.
See things as they are. Not how you want them to be.
What?
You lied to your father.
No.
You saw it too. But he wanted to believe. You're going to die here. Why don't you just leave? You can always come back.
The moment I leave, Papa will erase this canvas.
This is not worth your life.
What life? My life of loneliness in a shell of a body, with no voice and no future.
You're Mael. No matter where you are, you don't need this canvas.
But everything I want is here. Here I have a chance to live, Verso, to live. Up there I merely exist.
Life keeps forcing cruel choices.
Stop quoting Papa!
It's time to stop painting.
Verso! Papa also said, hold on to each other.
I'm sorry.
But it's time to say goodbye until next life.
And it is here, as the player, that you get to make a choice. Do you fight Verso as Mael, or do you fight Mael as Verso? Let's start with Mael's ending. Mael's ending is very up for interpretation, and I want to talk about the two ways I see it, along with a question that I want to ask as well, just to mix things up. Alicia wants to preserve the world, but understands that Verso just wants to move on and die. If you win as Alicia, Alicia brings back everyone. Gustave, Sophie, Ciel's husband, everyone. And Verso is allowed the privilege to slowly grow old. He is forced to be alive, which he doesn't want, but it's on the condition that he will be eventually allowed to die, something the paintress wouldn't allow. It seems like a happy ending. It's pretty cool. However, Verso seems to have aged a lot more than the rest of those in the theater where he is about to play piano. As we wait for him to start playing, we have an abrupt cut to Alicia, where we can see the same sickness starting to take her, just like what happened to Aline. The consensus by the community is that Alicia will eventually lose herself in the painting, and I love this happy yet tragic ending. But I would like to ask the question, did she age Verso up? Or has Verso aged organically and Alicia is forcing the rest of the population to not age, designing her perfect world where she can't be hurt anymore? Now I want to propose something more nefarious to you. Alicia already forced Verso to live. Sure, it's with the privilege of aging, but what if this shot right here isn't showing her losing herself? What if this is just her in an active painting state? We see Verso hesitate to play the piano. It's awkward, it's quiet. And then what if here we see Alicia force Verso to play the piano by painting it so? What if Alicia is now forcing the world down a path of no free will as to keep herself happy? What if Alicia forced Verso to play the piano? It is only after this shot that he finally plays. What if, to stop Verso from setting himself free and killing the canvas, she took his free will, and him not playing the piano was his attempt to break free. Anyway, let's talk about Verso's ending and then let's compare the two. Verso's ending is more cut and dry. He is tired of living and much like what he did to his mother, wants to set his younger soul free, killing the painting in the process. It's up in the air whether he is doing this for himself or he is doing it for his family, and I like that. It allows for more interesting conversation about this ending. Watching Eskie and Minoko accept their fate as they are happy for Verso is just so sad, man. But watching Lune standing defiant in the doorway judging him goes so fucking hard, man. She's like the only person that questions him throughout the entire game. She can't enter as it'll kill her. All she can do is watch the end approach. Painted Verso walks off with Verso's soul, and the canvas dies, forcing the DeSandra family to finally come to terms with Verso's death. We then cut to the family outside the painting as they finally start processing their grief by Verso's grave. And it's a really nice ending if you can look past Verso sentencing everyone else you knew throughout the entire game to death. I want to bring up a small detail that I noticed throughout the game that I personally haven't seen anyone bring up before. There are some really cool visuals that illustrate Verso's soul being exhausted and the world being already dead and on life support. You'll see these statues throughout the game, which is a subtle illustration of Aline's mind being split and severed, causing her madness as the Paintress. These statues will even become an enemy guarding the boss fight with the Paintress, which is pretty neat. But that's not the only thing I started to notice. Throughout the game, you'll see this warping energy scattered across the continent. It looks like flesh, like an X-ray of the inside of your body, your organs, your bones, your heart. We get to see this flesh being guarded by the statues. The statues are Aline, and this flesh-like energy is the essence of Verso's soul. She's protecting it, and she won't let it die. Now, what do you see when Verso wants to end the canvas and set his soul free? It's that energy again, but it's black like tar. The flesh that holds the world together, the meat, the soul of this world is decaying away. The fragment of Verso's soul is tired. Where this visual looked rich and full of life, it now lay barren, rotten, lifeless. Something I observed. I might be looking into it a little too hard, but I noticed it and I just had to say something. The only part I can't stand about Verso's ending is this whole friends waving goodbye shit. It devalues the sacrifice of genociding the painting in order for the family to move on. It feels like emotional gaslighting. Like, look, all the people you killed are actually happy. Look at them. Bye-bye, wee! I think having the real Alicia and Mael alone there fading to the petals would have been a lot more emotional as Alicia lets go of herself as Mael. The rest of them being there though feels like an attempt to make this ending less sad, but I still like this ending too. Now for the question a lot of people seem to ask. Which ending is the good ending and which ending is the bad ending? And I have a really good answer for this. It's called Shut the F up. Both endings only work because of how devastating both of them can be. When someone picks Mael's ending, I totally get why. And when someone tells me they went with Verso's ending, I also totally get why. I feel frustration with both endings, not because they are bad, but because there is always someone who suffers in the end. Anyone that tells you that Verso's ending is the correct ending is a fucking wanker. And anyone that tells you that Mael's ending is the objectively correct choice is also a fucking asshole. What makes both endings so heartbreaking is both hold a cost. I've actually heard people say that Verso's ending is objectively the right ending because the people in the painting aren't real, which is just such a disingenuous thought process, especially when we just spent 30 hours with these characters struggling through their grief and pain. To say that these people aren't real is just silly. What makes Verso's ending work is how heartbreaking the sacrifice of all of these people in order to stop the cycle of suffering is. To devalue that actually just makes the ending boring. I talked about how the game teaches you about death through Gustav. Graceful death, painful death, and purposeful death. And these three lessons reflect the tragedy of grief and how to overcome it in the endings. There is graceful death, the slow fading of society that would make its own ending had humanity never fought in the first place. The Paintress would have hit a threshold where the population is too young to fight and they would have faded, and she would have had to leave the painting, leaving Renoir to clean the canvas and set his son's soul free. There is painful death with Mael's ending. Mael prolonged prolongs the canvas's downfall as to fulfill a fantasy that tortures her brother's soul that allows those to finally live a fulfilling long life until Alicia's painful death in the canvas, leading to the end after all is done. And then there is purposeful death, facing the problem head on at the tragic cost of everything in the pursuit of something better, freeing Verso's soul so that the family can finally move on. I do understand why people love Verso's ending more. It's ripping a band-aid off and skipping the suffering of the canvas's death. But man, I just love how both endings can just make you think about death, about grief. It's nice. Expedition 33 absolutely deserved Game of the Year, and it absolutely deserved all those other rewards, except for Best Roleplay Game. Are you fucking kidding me? What roleplay is there in Expedition 33? Motherfucker CL spends the whole game wanting to shag Verso, and even if you tell her no, her relationship with you and love for you just gets stronger. That you can't fuck up in any way. How is this roleplay? No matter how much I fuck up, people still want to fuck me. It's just like in real life. Happy New Year, everybody.